And we are live. Yay. Giving everybody a chance to come on in. Let me send Faridah the invite link. So excited. Okay. Ooh. Hello, hello. Shout out to everybody for showing up so fast. I appreciate y'all. If you're new here, don't know what's going on, I'm Tahira, aka SincerelyTahiry, and I have a book club called the Iqra Trials. Every month we read a different book by a Muslim author. This month actually in July, we read Ace of Spades. Wait, let me get my book. So we read Ace of Spades by Faridah Àbíké-Íyímídé, and I'm so excited because she's here to join us. I'm going to interview her, ask her a couple of questions, and just discuss this book that literally took the entire world by storm. Very excited. So yeah. Also, please feel free to leave your questions and comments in the chat, and I'll shoot them to Faridah, and we can just go from there. Okay. Bismillah. Hi.
Hello.
You look so pretty. Oh my gosh.
Thank you. You too. You always look good.
You're so sweet, please. Not a Christmas tree.
Yeah, I believe it's Christmas every day. I'm a Muslim, but I love Christmas for the the consumerism aspect of it. So
Not the capitalism. We love to see it. No, but honestly, I get it. I feel like there's definitely Christmas vibes. You know, the fact that the whole country can celebrate when you're Muslim in a not Muslim country, you just be like, oh, all right.
I really wish I could celebrate Eid, but like Christmas. But unfortunately, I have to kind of stick with this.
I feel you. I feel you. How are you? Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having me. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good, it's summer, so I'm a little hot, a little tired, but been having fun, reading some good books. I feel like this year there's definitely been so many more really good books. Some years are you're kind of on and off. Some years the books are cool, but then I feel like this year the books have been hitting, and maybe that's just because of the explosion of book talk, but there's so much more emphasis on reading this year, and probably also because we're coming out of the pandemic, that I definitely feel is different from previous years. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I love all the releases that have been coming out by Black authors, especially. It's just been amazing.
Yeah, first of all, I love your accent.
Oh, thank you.
You already know I'm obsessed with British accents. It actually might be a sickness.
I actually have a question for you because I remember a few months ago you claimed that you could do a really good accent. So I want to hear.
Right? No, wait. We're 5 minutes in. Don't put me on the spot. Hold up. Wait. I was not prepared. When did I say that? You sure?
Yeah.
You have proof? I don't know about this. This is pressure.
Say something that someone from Love Island would say.
Not Love Island. Oh my gosh, let me think. I literally watched the latest episode today, so.
Oh, that was a mess.
Okay. The trauma, please. I don't know. This is pressure. It'll come out. It'll come out. I feel like it'll definitely come out. I'm one of those people where it actually slips up. You would think that I've actually even visited the UK. I haven't even left this ghetto ass country. So it'll pop up. I promise. I promise. Oh yay, everybody's joining. We love to see it. For this one, I kind of wanted it to be more discussion based, just because we Black. I just feel very comfortable. It's just very chill, and I love Ace of Spades, and I feel like there's just so much to dissect and talk about. But amongst Black Muslims, it hits different. For one, I was so surprised to find out that you literally wrote this while in uni. I'm shook. what was that writing process for you like? Even like pitching and getting it published. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I am from London, but I went to university in Scotland. And basically, London, especially my area, is really diverse. Like, I think my area, there's mostly by POC, like
Okay.
mostly people of color. And my school, my actual high school, was like 90 something percent Black.
Oh, I love
So, yeah, when I went to Scotland, it was completely the flipped situation.
that.
And I could go days without seeing any person of color. And it was really traumatic, but generally, I really struggle to make friends because drinking culture is wild in university, but also in the UK because the drinking age is 18,
Oh yeah.
and so you can literally come to university and just move mad. And so, yeah, I just basically struggle to make friends. So a lot of the time, I was in my dorm room alone. And so I kind of wanted to find something to fill the time with. So I was watching Gossip Girl for the first time, and I just wanted to write something that was similar to that, but also I had to examine what it would mean to put a Black student in that world of like
Yeah.
privilege and like wealth. And I realized I was actually in that world already because when you go to university, there's so many people that have come from kind of privileged backgrounds. That's why they're here. And
Yeah.
so I was experiencing that for the first time, meeting privileged Black people, but also privileged white people for the
Mm.
first time. Because back home, even the white people I knew were also working class. So yeah, I was kind of experiencing all of that for the first time. So that was that side of things why I started writing Ace of Spades. And then I wrote it in a month during my second semester. And I queried it for a few months. This is not the first book I've ever written, by the way. It was like the third book. Um, and so, yeah, I queried it, and then I got an agent offer, and we edited it for a bit. And then the first month back from second year of university, that would be sophomore year in America, I think.
Yeah.
I got a book deal in the UK. And then I worked on my book with my UK publisher, and then we went on submission in the US in 2020.
Oh wow. First of all, the fact that you wrote it in a month, I love that. As somebody that like writes low key, and when I say low key, that just means like in my head I'm a writer. The idea of like doing anything while studying is like a lot. And I remember even with me just being in school, even reading was a lot, especially because I feel like university can take some of the creative juices out of you. So I love that. I love hearing that. Was it something that you automatically knew that you were going to go forward and like publish? And you mentioned you wrote previous books. Like, did you know that Ace was going to be like the one for you?
So I basically knew I wanted to be a writer from a young age. And so I wrote my first book when I was in, I think I would say like junior year equivalent. Um, and it was really bad, but I queried, and as they should have, they rejected me. The agents, they all rejected it. And then I took kind of the feedback from that, and I wrote another book. And that one also got rejected a lot, but it had more positive feedback. And so I kept on learning basically. And I kind of, because I was so scared, I come from like a working class background, and I'd seen my parents struggle, and I'd seen how tough life could be. And I really didn't want to have to experience that for the rest of my life. And so
Yeah.
I realized that I had to kind of pursue my dreams as soon as possible before the real world kicked in.
Yeah.
Um, and so throughout university, I was like, okay, I'm going to try and see if this writing thing works. And if it doesn't, I'm going to go and like pursue something that's going to make it easy for me in life. So
Mm.
the struggle life isn't fun. And so, yeah, I kind of just, that was kind of what I just did basically. I was just like, university is your time to just try new things.
I love that. I feel like so many people, you have this idea when you go to college that you pick your major and like that's it. But in reality, the idea is like you're supposed to be exposed to different things and figure out what works best for you. And I mean, alhamdulillah, it's worked out. Like Ace is really that girl, and we love to see it. Um, oh wow, more people are joining. Let me make sure I didn't miss any questions. Oh, I think she hasn't read the book. Is there romance in the book? Yes, both our main characters. Is his name Devin or Devon? I'm black. It's Devon.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I was saying it, but but Devon and Chiamaka are both queer and they both experience some type of actually like two romances, actually, both of them.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, in the book. So if you want a little bit of romance, it's definitely there. What was it like writing from like a mix of UK and US like academic perspectives? You definitely feel both in the story at Nivea's High. Was that like really interesting for you? Where you were like incorporating different like media into that process?
Yeah, so in the UK and I guess in other countries as well, US media really dominates like what we watch. Like
Mm,
everything we grow up with is kind of US centric. So, That's a Raven, all of those shows, like
yeah,
from longer and stuff. And so, Gossip Girl and Pretty Little Liars, those are obviously set in the US as well. So I really wanted to have that kind of, not trashy, but like fun, like high school vibe that you
yeah,
see in like, popular media. But I also wanted to have a commentary on like the global north and just generally how everything's connected. I think a lot of the time racism is focused on being like American or like,
yeah,
very much American thing. Like a lot of European people will be like, yeah, that doesn't happen here. It's an American problem.
yeah.
Um,
I believe that
and,
100.
they're the ones that, invented it. Like the white people that came to America are from
Hello.
Europe. So it's
Hello.
like I really wanted it to be connected in that way and like remind people to not just assume that the issue is like an American issue. It's really global.
Yeah. Do you feel like there's a difference in like UK racism and US racism, and like how did that influence talking about race in Ace? Oh, that
I
rhymes.
used to think there was a difference, and I think a lot of people say that one is more overt and one is more covert. I
Yeah.
think that's kind of dangerous because I don't think racism. Like I think it's almost trying to subtly say that one is like worse than the other.
Yeah.
I think that they both function in very similar ways, but because of things like laws and the way the whole countries fundamentally are set up, like it just looks different, but it's kind of very similar. For example, we don't have like our regular police don't have guns, but there have been police shootings here before where they've killed Black people,
Mm.
or they use other methods. Like there's a boy from 2017. He got strangled to death by a police officer.
Oh my.
Um, so it's like it looks similar, but because of the context historically and stuff, it's obviously different, and I think should be acknowledged in its like respective ways of how it differs. Um, and yeah, I also think that in America, there's been a lot more movement building with African Americans. Really, really like wish more Black British people would come together and like do more movement building. But there are people out here that are trying to do that, but there's
Yeah.
not really like community feel as much in the UK. I think in a lot of areas, it's a lot of division still. So I think it is similar, but there is obviously differences because of historical contexts.
Yeah. I definitely agree. I learned a lot actually about the little like subtleties of UK life that were in Ace. I think it definitely added more to whatever perspective I have, because one of the many, there's privileges, but one of the many unfortunates about being born and raised in the US is that literally everything you think America is like the world, and your perception of the rest of the world is so skewed if you're not exposed to this different type of media. So I think I love that Ace does that in a way that it's still casual, and I wouldn't say it's even foreign from what Americans experience and like Black Americans specifically. So I definitely think you accomplished that. Someone asked, did you experience a lot of hardships during your writing and publishing process?
I'm not really sure if I would say hardships. I think I struggled a lot with um, kind of trying to articulate certain experiences I was going through because I was still young at the time when I started writing it. I was kind of going through things and then having to sit down and kind of unpack them and then kind of articulate them in a book. Like, for example, a lot of like there is kind of a discussion about the way white teachers perceive and treat Black students. And
Yes.
even though my school growing up was mostly Black, the teachers were mostly white. And so there
Mm,
was a weird power dynamic. And I never really unpacked that. And so in Ace of Spades, I had to unpack that while writing the way teachers would talk to us. A teacher would call us the N word, and like it would be so casual. Um, talk down to us, call us like names,
Insane.
drag girls by their weaves, like literally,
Oh,
and nothing would happen, no consequences or anything for that. So I really had to unpack what that meant and why that was allowed to happen.
yeah.
Um, but in terms of actual publishing hardships, I think it was very difficult querying as a Black author because often, like, agents have a preconceived notion of what Blackness is and what
Mm,
a compelling Black story should be. And so often you're kind of met with a lot of those kind of barriers. I even had like a rejection from an editor that said that Devon and Chiamaka sounded too alike. And if you read the book, I just don't think that's possible. That's one thing I'm positive about. But
they're literally on two opposite
yeah,
spectrums to the point where so much of the book they didn't even really like each other. That's how different they were.
exactly.
Okay. I think it's weird because a lot of white people in general, they don't know how to describe Black people outside of whatever Black person they've been exposed to, like Black celebrities. And even sometimes when I hear people like describing Ace of Spades and they're like, oh, it's very like Get Out meets Gossip Girl. Do you think that like that's an accurate like representation of Ace, or would you pick something different?
So actually, when I was querying, I started querying with those comp titles.
Mm,
Um, but I think that it's more than that also. Like I think I don't want to reduce it just to that. I think it could also be described as Dear White People,
absolutely.
um, and like Pretty Little Liars, and just those fun like mystery teen dramas, but also the really iconic Black shows where you see like the dynamics of different Black people. I
Yeah.
always say that Chimaka reminds me of Hillary from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yes.
So
100%.
yeah.
I love that. You think people would know? I mean, I feel like Black people get that. I definitely got all of those vibes. Dear White People, 100%. Hillary. That's literally the vibe that I got, and it was just so astounding. But I mean, I guess I understand why people relate it to the more popular shows. Honestly, regarding Gossip Girl, at this point, you can write the reboot. I think they need to hire you in the writing team because the way that you was writing Gossip Girl better than Gossip Girl, especially me as somebody who hasn't finished the original series, and unfortunately, I'm watching the reboot, and which is already a whole nother story. We'll get into that later. Something that was interesting for me as somebody who's grown up mainly around Black people or other people of color was the ways that I feel like both Chimaka and Devon are a little bit ignorant to what racism looks like, even if they are, subconsciously aware, they don't want to admit that. Is that realistic for being a Black person at like a PWI or predominantly white institution?
So I feel like both yes and no. It depends on the person you are. But I think, especially growing up, me and even other Black people I know that have gone to PWIs, I feel like you gaslight yourself a lot
Mm,
because, something will happen and you'll be like, it can't be that. Like, it can't be.
yeah,
That's too wild.
yeah,
Also, I wanted to really capture like that process of kind of doubting yourself and your instincts about something because as Black people, we're kind of constantly going through traumatic experiences and having to figure out what is real and what isn't. Our like sense of reality is often like kind of like I don't know, not warped, but we're constantly second guessing what reality is because we're always being gaslit by systems and
yeah,
people and figures. So I really wanted to show, and I know it's very frustrating to see someone going through it because it's so easy from the outside to be like, that's
yeah.
definitely racism, get out of here.
I was getting mad. I was like, listen, I love y'all, but especially Devon, I was like, you are from the hood. Like, I was just like, you're pissing me off. But I think that was the reason. I was like, okay, this book is doing what it's supposed to do because I was sitting there like, I wonder why the two Black kids are being targeted by all these white people. What is the reason? But I mean, yeah, it is a lot of gaslighting. I think especially the closer proximity you are to white people because they are very sometimes delusional about racism and even what it means. They can't even recognize the racist tendencies in themselves. So I feel like the closer you are to that, you kind of like pick up on it. And also as a means of survival, another thing I noticed is that both Devon and Chiamaka are like the stakes are different when you're Black. and you're trying to be successful, you know, and even Chiamaka like never really wearing her hair straight, which obviously can be seeds of like, you know, a little bit of, you know, internalized anti-blackness, but also a lot of it in regards to assimilating is about survival. It's about doing what you have to do to survive, to get through this process. And I'm not gonna lie, in the beginning, I was a little bit like turned off by Chiamaka just because, you know, she's a little difficult, which is okay. She's a little difficult. But once I really got to like know her, I was like, okay, I understand. And I feel like it even dragged me as somebody who is also has, I feel like I have a lot of similarities like Chiamaka, and the characters I usually have beef with in books remind me of myself. It happens a lot. I think that's just because I haven't, like, some things you just unlearn in the pages, even like her just being so passionate and so like dedicated to doing what she has to do for herself. And the world is obsessed with humbling Black women. It's the most frustrating thing in the world. Like, Black women be breathing, they're like, oh, you're ugly. Okay, good morning to you too. Nobody asked about that. One thing I noticed though also was the parents played an interesting role in Ace of Spades. Chiamaka is mixed. She's Nigerian, and what is her dad? Italian.
Yeah.
He's Italian. What was the decision behind making her mixed?
So I really wanted to kind of explore just a different side to being mixed. I've got like a lot of friends who are mixed race, and I feel like a lot of like media doesn't really expand on it, or it ignores it completely. And it does a disservice for people that are monoracial and also people that are mixed. And Chimaka's dark skinned, but she's also mixed. So there's also
people act like if you're mixed, that automatically means you're light skinned. And there are a lot of mixed people, no matter what they're mixed with, that tend to be darker, or especially if they're Black, they can also have like very Black phenotype, like very Black.
Exactly. I always want to like really discuss that type of thing because like you could be mixed but also have more like of a, I don't know, Afrocentric, I don't know if that's a word, phenotype. And so I feel like I really wanted to explore that with Chiamaka, but also I wanted to show a different dynamic between what it's like to have a parent that doesn't really look like you or understand you in that way. And also family dynamics and just I guess the tensions that can come with that as well. And also Chiamaka is Nigerian, but she's also mixed tribally. So mom is like from 2 different tribes in Nigeria as well. And so her mom has experienced some of that in a very kind of a nuanced way that's not often discussed, because obviously there's tribal kind of tensions as well. So her mom understands aspects of that with Chiamaka, but obviously doesn't understand the full extent. And I also wanted to explore like being disconnected from your culture in that way when there are tensions to do with family and culture. So yeah, I really wanted to show a different side to kind of a Black experience.
Yeah, and her dad was, you know, I know, you know, rich parents, they really stereotypically, like on media, they're just never really around, like they're not there. But it was also definitely interesting to read about how the parents definitely like loved each other. Like it was very obvious that they had love for each other, but there's still, I guess, subconscious agreement to overlooking the other stuff, you know, the racism, the beef from the other family, even some stuff that involves like Chiamaka, like her. First of all, I loved her moments with her mom eating, her mom doing her hair. It just felt very Black. It was very Black daughter, Black mom like. But you could tell her mom really did like want to encourage her to be herself, to her Blackness. But you know, like you said, there's only kind of so much that you understand from your own perspective. And she definitely was living in a reality that was different to both of her parents, her white parent and her Black parent. Devon was so interesting to me. His mom, I feel like I related to his story the most. I also grew up with my father being in jail. My dad was in jail for 10 years. So I didn't really grow up with my dad, but I definitely have like the single mom with like multiple siblings who was like working her ass off. And I noticed that there was definitely a bit of, a little bit more than a bit of like the negligence because of all of the things that encompasses being, you know, a single mom, being Black kids, being a single mom to a Black queer kid in, you know, the hood. It's just a definite, it's a lot. It's a very weird experience. Can you talk a little bit more about writing his family dynamic and also his father, who unfortunately died? But
Yeah, so I like in the UK terms, we call the hood ends, and so I'm from ends, and that's kind of like where you find like working class people, people that you know like might be homeless or might be struggling in one way or the other. And so that was kind of my background. And I never really thought of myself as working class until I got to university. You don't really think of yourself in that way because it's normalized almost like there's no
yeah,
one else to compare to. So I never
yeah,
felt any type of way because I look around me and my friends are going through worse or the same situation. Um, and so, yeah, like I really kind of, a lot of Devon's experiences and even his neighborhood is inspired by my neighborhood. And I really wanted to kind of highlight what it's like to be working class and try and like make it in like a like in a environment where people are more like they're doing better in terms of
yeah,
situation. And that was kind of me trying to make a commentary on you can't really like I don't know how to describe it, but you can't overcome racism and like all the barriers by kind of moving up in that way.
yeah,
Systemic. And so I wanted to show both from someone who was like already rich and someone who was from a poorer background but was in that environment and had access to those like the access to the things that Chimak has access to, and
yeah,
still these things will come into play. And so with Devon as well, he just reminds me of a lot of boys I knew growing up and boys I know now. And
yeah,
I think I really wanted to like really highlight what it's like to kind of have a single mother. My mom is like the best person ever. There's obviously like tension sometimes when, there's like, when a parent is like going through so much in themselves and you have to realize they're human, but
yeah,
also they are trying to kind of keep a roof over your head.
yep,
um, you don't realize like things when you're younger, but when you're older and you have to now become kind of like the I guess the other parent in the house or the other
yeah,
caregiver and stuff, you kind of get tensions because there is like slight resentment, and like just the wishing that you could be a child as well.
yeah,
um, and yeah, I really appreciate my mum, and I dedicated the book to her because really love her. We have like disagreements because things have been difficult, but I really wanted to show basically the I guess the just how it's kind of nuanced and like
yeah,
things are, as you said, there's like negligence, but at the same time, she's a human,
yeah,
and she's trying to provide for her kids. And I'm
yeah,
the oldest girl in my house, and
yep.
so unfortunately, that means I'm apparently also a parent from the moment I'm born,
Yeah, I got kids I ain't never pushed out, and I don't really understand how that works.
right?
But
Yeah, exactly.
happy
So
birthday to us.
well, like, also, I wanted to have like commentary on like just the legal system and the prison system and the way it
Yeah,
treats Black people. Obviously, I kind of emphasized how it treats Black men. It's different in the UK in terms of, I guess, what sentencing looks like and also what laws look like in general. But there's a big problem with the incarceration of Black boys and Black men in the UK as well.
yeah,
Um, like it's just the ratio is so off and there's just so much that's so corrupt about it.
yeah.
um but yeah, I also like Devon's dad in some ways reminds me of my dad, who I don't talk to. Just yeah.
Not us living the same life, Farida. Wow.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a lot of nuance, and I think for this to be a YA book, to have all of this commentary in a way that it doesn't feel forced or that it's not like trigger words. I feel like now, especially after last year and white people discovering that like Black people are facing racism, there's a lot of just like buzzwords. It's a lot of like trigger, just a lot of stuff that they just throw in there for like diversity points. And I think also sometimes there's a bit of a fear from like Black audience and Black readers. I saw a lot of people that haven't read the book that are scared to pick it up because of the way that sometimes our trauma is handled, even if it is by a Black author, because it's it's never just like Black author straight to the reader. There's always other people involved, but I just feel like it was handled so well, and I really appreciate it. I was sitting there like reading Devon's point of view, and I was like, yeah, that was me. Like I was that girl with my siblings, like going to like visit my dad in prison, and I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize how much of that has probably impacted me, because like you said, it's so many things that are just normalized. As a child, you're just like, okay, like, whatever whatever excuse or like story you're told. Most of the times when you have like a parent in prison, the other parent usually gives like some type of story or something. So like me as a kid, I just thought my dad was like going away for like work or whatever. So very similar to like Devon, I literally didn't even realize it until I was much older. Obviously with him, his by the time he found out, his father was already gone, which was really sad. But the death penalty is also another thing that is just heavily racist and involved just like so many things. And I just feel like you handled it so beautifully. And I definitely can also relate to your struggles with your mom. And I love the ending with Devon and his mom, because at the core, she loves her kids. Like she loves him, and she knows. Moms always know. Even if they don't talk about it, even if they don't mention it, they just be knowing. I don't know where that comes from. Maybe it's just intuition. I do wish that there was more done from her, but I also wish there was more that my mom did for me. So I guess that is, really just life. Let's talk about Aces. First of all, I'm about to send you a check for Trump, because not a check, my bad. I'm gonna need you to send me a check, because I have to go to therapy about the things that I experienced in this book. When I tell you I was reading this at like 3 a.m. and was scared to go to sleep, and it's not even like that scary. I don't know what it was. I was just sitting there like, there's no way. There's no way they're doing this to these Black kids. Like, I can't handle it. Was it I'm just interested to know like the writing process behind intertwining all of these subtle nuances to even the school's like motto. Child, when I read that, I said, no, we're gonna have to, I need a minute. I had to take like a week off from the book because that was a lot. How did you do that and execute it in a way that was just so seamless? The girlies would love to know.
So I think from the beginning, I kind of knew what the twist would be, because I wanted to have like a commentary on like the way institutions like racism just doesn't happen at these institutions. It's literally built into the foundations.
Yeah.
And I was like, at the time I was writing it, I was like reading a lot about specifically UK based stuff, like for example, like specific institutions like Oxford having like this big like statue of a really like racist guy like front and center and stuff. Um, just thinking about like what actually happens at these institutions to Black people like in the past, in the present too, but I mean just in other ways. Like I was reading, because I did anthropology in my first year of university.
Oh, I love that.
And I was reading about like the history of anthropology and the way they were coming in and like measuring Black people's skulls and like justifying, race science and saying, yeah, this person is this amount of human and stuff like that. And I realized I couldn't study anthropology anymore because fundamentally the subject was racist. And that's kind of a controversial thing to say, because certain people love studying it, mostly white people love studying it. But yeah, I just kept on noticing it more and more. So I really wanted to have that commentary from the beginning, showing how much it's like, it's not people, individuals, like it's not just them. It's literally built into the foundations of institutions, into the foundations of countries. So I wanted to show how deep it runs. I think some people will find it unrealistic.
A lot of white reviewers were saying that it was unrealistic, and I was just like, what, y'all don't even know anything about racism or experience it. Like, in what place are you to say what is real or not to something that you don't experience? Like, it wasn't giving.
Yeah.
I was actually going to ask you about that, because it is unfortunate when you see a lot of Black readers, or even just like diverse readers. I've seen it happen a lot also with like Muslim authors. You see people that come up and they write these reviews about things that they really don't understand. They don't have any grasp on it. Has that affected you as an author, and what would be your response to those type of like reviews?
I think I specifically write for Black people. And
Yeah.
so I don't really think of how other people feel about it. I'm always writing with Black people in mind, which is why, um, even though the ending isn't realistic in the sense that I think, a lot of people would expect a more bleaker ending.
Yeah.
Um, I was focused on making sure that these characters are okay, they're really
Yeah.
thriving, and they're excelling in life, despite what happened, because I just believe that, I believe in telling despite stories. So, as a Black Muslim, for example, I face so many different things. I've got so many intersecting parts of my
Yeah.
identity. And so I believe in, like, despite it's facing Islamophobia constantly and misogyny and racism and everything all at once, I can still be happy,
Yeah.
like my circumstances. So I really say to that, like, I'm writing these stories for Black people.
Yeah.
And that's all that matters, really.
Yeah. I love that ending. I was like, period. Bad bitches. I love to see it. I love that they were still friends. Their relationship was so cute to watch because I feel like Devon looks at Chiamaka as like an annoying sister, like just an annoying sister that's always there. And so much of their relationship was, like I said earlier, they were so different, but they kind of were, they were bonded through their shared experience, which is very realistic to a lot of Black people. Like, unfortunately, sometimes it can stem from racism, but not even just that, just the collected sharedness of being able to like trust each other, empathize with each other, be there for each other. Especially, I feel like with Chiamaka because she literally had like no Black friends. It was her in this sea full of white people. Child, Jamie, hell awaits that man. He's not even real, but that's where he's at. And I even just her, I think about all the pressures that we put on Black women and Black students in general when we're in these institutions. It's like, oh, just like go to school. And it's usually from parents and community as well. It's like go to school, do what you have to do, you'll be fine, you'll be all right. But I don't think people ever understand the weight of what it means to be Black in certain spaces and how it does like affect your academics. Even with Devon and his teacher, when he was like messing with his grades and stuff, I've literally had teachers like mess with my grades, like, and it's real. It is literally things that happen, and it is unfortunate. I do want to talk a little bit about the romances because I feel like they were very cute. I love Terrell. I love him. He's probably my favorite character in the book. I think he was a little sus in the beginning, but that's okay because I trusted him eventually. But he was just a sweetheart. I felt like he was a good, just like sounding board of, rashness, and he was just chill. He was very chill. Chiamaka actually discovers that she's bisexual. I feel like in a very like casual way, and I loved seeing queerness expressed that way because for some people, it like coming out is this really big thing, and then for others, it's kind of just like, okay. She was like, yeah, I kind of like want to kiss you. So there's that. What was your experience like writing Black queer characters, especially at who are attracted to white people? I would say for Chiamaka's standpoint, like does that even what did that entail?
So I think firstly, writing like Black queer characters for me, I think part of the whole purpose of me writing Ace of Spades was to kind of not only like make several statements about the world and society and just like Blackness as well and anti-Blackness, but also I really wanted to kind of pay homage. I don't know if that's the word. I'm kind of tired because it's late here, but I wanted to, like, I guess recenter the people that were, movement building in movements in across history,
Yeah,
and a lot of the time it was queer Black people or queer not queer Black people, sorry, queer Black people and Black Muslims, and you know what I
yeah,
mean. It's like these people that are kind of left out of narratives.
yeah,
So I wanted to recenter queer Black people in like a story about like taking down systems and creating a new movement. And so that was like kind of firstly my intentions. Also, I'm queer and I'm Black, so I really wanted to really just, I guess, write for queer Black people as well
yeah,
and show them that they can be in this big kind of commercial story. And then in terms of the romances and Chiamaka especially, I really wanted to kind of dive into kind of the weight of white supremacy and like how it affects the way you perceive what is attractive and what isn't.
mm,
Um, And part of that is also the weight of the male gaze and the
Yeah.
patriarchy, because a lot of people I speak to, a lot of queer people of all races, they sometimes realize or come to the realization of their sexuality through like having to unpack a lot of the things they've learned, because we're taught that, we're taught to kind of be like straight and like
Yeah.
we live in a heteronormative society. So I wanted to show the weight of that and what it can do to someone's perception of beauty.
Yeah.
And you can see Chiamaka struggling a lot with even the way she looks. And so
Yeah.
obviously you can see that she's idolizing whiteness in some big way.
Yeah.
But even though it's not obvious in the end, Chiamaka marries a Black woman. And so I really wanted to kind of show that they have unpacked a lot from in the future, because the epilogue is 16 years later.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, just generally, I wanted to also show just softness with the characters. They're going through a
Yeah.
lot. So I wanted to show soft moments. And I love Terrell too. I feel like Terrell is a lot like me. I'm very abrupt, and I kind of just say things like the way they are, especially from when I was like 16 and learning about a lot of systems and things in the world that were really messed up.
He
And
definitely
like,
didn't hold back at all. He was just, I said he definitely didn't hold back. He was just like,
exactly.
yeah, this is just what it is. But I feel like Devon needed it. And even when they all kind of three joined up at the end, he was still definitely a voice of reason. And I love when he mentioned how he views white people and how, all white people essentially participate in racism and benefit from racism. And I think that conversation was so important in a young adult novel, especially because there are a lot of white people that read it. A lot of people think that racism is just, oh, I think I'm better than you because I'm white and you're Black. And we have to acknowledge the ways that racism has evolved and how it is so intertwined into not only our systems, but like you said, our beauty standards, how we view ourselves, how we view each other, what we deem is like socially acceptable, what we think is presentable. And all of that is messy, but I think it's also realistic. And I love the romances. They definitely added a lot of softness and sweetness to the book. I love Devon also because he was a more sensitive, like Black kid. And I love reading about sensitive Black boys, especially because he was also in the hood and also like kind of dabbled in like drug dealing. Because people have this idea about what it looks like to be a Black boy in a rough neighborhood, or even what a Black drug dealer or gangster or whatever looks like, in a way that's very dehumanizing and lacks a lot of nuance into what leads you even into that, or what comes from that. And even, his anxiety was definitely something that I related to a lot. Another example of me getting frustrated with him for being anxious, because I'd be anxious. I was like, get over it, Devon, as I'm sitting here having a heart attack reading the book. I was like, no, you have to move on. It's going to be okay. Who was your favorite character to write and least favorite?
I don't know if I have a favorite character. I really enjoyed all of them in different scenes, and different stages of editing. Sometimes it was hard to edit Chiamaka because like you have kind of the impulse as a writer to kind of make someone more likable. I really wanted Chiamaka to be somewhat unlikable in the sense that she is not kind of she's not like the anti-stereotype, if you get what I mean. I think often we're almost like performing always, like a lot of the time for white people, because we know that they're going to think of us as aggressive or too ambitious. And instead she is doing what she wants, and she's just doing whatever despite that being the reality for us and the way we are perceived. But generally, I really loved writing all of them. I loved writing Terrell a lot because I think he was definitely the voice of reasoning. And because I'm writing 17-year-olds who are kind of in a sunken place, I was when I was younger. It was frustrating a lot of the time because writing from the sunken place is not something I like doing, because this is a dark, dark place.
It's very dark.
It's awful. I don't want to go back there. So those were very difficult to write. But Terrell was kind of a breath of fresh air because he'd already started reading Malcolm X like I had when I was 16. And so, yeah, I really like writing him. Least favorite character was probably Belle, because I don't know, I had to really capture white women tears and like white womaning, and that really frustrates me because
not the Karen energy, child. Yes. I can't Belle. I mean, yeah, I was pissed at her. I was definitely annoyed because I think she also definitely encompasses what a lot of people consider themselves. That's what white allies look a lot of the time. They're like, no, like, what do you mean? Like, no, I'm here for you. I love you. I love your hair. Take your beanie off. Just like, and then you're just like, you're treating me like a pet at a zoo, and you're also like lying and manipulating me, and it is very, I feel like, reminiscent of relationships specifically with white women, that capturing white fragility and white tears women is definitely not easy. It's truly an art. What's going on with future works with Ace? Is Ace like done? Will there be like spin-offs and prequels and stuff, if you can talk about it?
So, I mean, both the UK and US exclusive editions, the Barnes and Noble and the Waterstones editions, have like one of them has like a snapshot at like 3 months after the events before the epilogue, and then in the Barnes and Noble edition, it's a prequel of their freshman year. But
Ooh.
yeah, it's really cool. But generally, I don't have plans for like a full blown sequel, but I think I might write again in the world. But yeah, generally like plans with writing as well. Is that what you're kind of asking as well?
Yeah, future books, so we can, keep an eye out, mark it on Goodreads.
Yeah, so future books. So I'm writing one right now that's kind of set in a boarding school and it's about friendship. And it centers a Black Muslim girl. I'm so excited because we need that representation. I
Oh,
never had that growing up, and
they
I
act
think
like Black Muslims don't exist.
honest, literally every time I go into an Uber, I'm always like confronted with questions about why my name's a Muslim name, and I'm like, well, I mean, let's put two and two together.
The way people literally ask me with a hijab on, like, "Are you Muslim?" It's like, no, sir. I'm just wearing all of these layers in 90-degree weather because I think it's cute. Like, yes, I'm Muslim. Please stop asking Black Muslims to validate their entire existence for you, please and thank you. But I love that. I'm so excited to hear that. And I'm so thankful for you to join us. This was so fun. I love just like picking your brain. I also know it's very late in the UK, so you are the real one. If there's any last minute questions, feel free to like pop them in really quick. But yeah, this was very fun. I love talking about aces. And I actually want to get my the other edition, the US edition. This one is cute. I do like this one. And then I got the little bookmark, which
That's
is
so
so cute.
nice.
It's so nice. I was like, yes. I feel like I didn't realize how much of a visual reader I was. And then when you get these little like knickknacks from books, and even like the drawings that you posted on your Instagram, I was like, oh, this is them. This is what they look like. Someone asked, did you have a particular scene that you loved writing in the book?
I really loved writing. There's like an ending scene where Devon and Chiamaka are getting ready for the big ball in their school. And I really loved writing Chiamaka's designer like dress and gown and stuff, and
Mm.
also her just being really mean to Devon about like I don't know, just dressing badly, and then bickering at each other. I just find their dynamic so much fun to write because I don't know, them clashing is just so like nice for me.
Yeah, it's really cute. I mean, because I think it's reminiscent of just a lot of Black people and like our family dynamics. You definitely have some like cousins and aunts and uncles that you don't get along with, but y'all love each other. But y'all will definitely be sitting there bickering over dinner at the barbecues for no reason. Um, just for the last like little sec, I did want to know, what are your thoughts on the Gossip Girl reboot?
So basically, when I first watch it, I've only watched the first two episodes because I'm not feeling it, and so I'm not rushing for each
Yeah,
like episode to drop each week. Um, but when I watched the first episode, I thought that it was very nice. Like it was just like fun, and it had the DNA of the original
yeah.
uh, Gossip Girl, and I was interested in seeing where it went. But then I was hoping they would drop this teacher thing, like drop the teachers being involved, but they didn't. So I'm dropping the show. I'm joking. Yeah, I'm not liking that at all. It feels exploitive and nasty, and ugh, I hate
It's
it.
weird for that to be like the thing. They expose it in the first episode, like this is Gossip Girl, and I was just like, these grown ass people. I'm confused. I'm not into it. I feel like television is disappointing me. And then, like I said earlier, Love Island was just a hot ass mess. Oh my gosh, I need to stop watching it. At this point, it's an addiction. It's unhealthy for me. I'm experiencing too much like PTSD from the show. It is insane. But thank you so much, Farida, for joining us. If anybody wants to stick around for like the next like 10 minutes, I'll still be on here. And in the description, I linked Farida's Instagram, her Twitter. I think you're also working on, you just came out with an anthology with some other writers, I believe. I think
Yeah, it's called Black Joy. It's out in September. It's
yeah.
edited by a really lovely person named Charlie. She worked for a magazine called Galdem, and now she's working for the New York Times.
Oh, wow.
It's like a bunch of Black British voices. There are really amazing people in it. Like I don't know who you guys would know, but Diane Abbott. She's like a really big politician here. And then there's like Leanne from Little Mix. So it's just like different Black people in different parts of like the world, like not the world, but like the world of the industry and like
Yeah.
not anymore, but yeah, really cool. And my essay is on being dyslexic and writing stories and learning to love books and reading.
I love that. So that link is also down below. You guys can mark it on your Goodreads. Keep an eye out for it. Thank you, Farida, for joining us. I hope you have a good night. I know we had you up late, but inshallah in the future, we'll have you on some future episodes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
Hello. That was so fun, y'all. That's so cute. I didn't even know it had Leanne from Little Mix in it. That was so fun. I love talking about Ace of Spades. I feel like my nerdy side definitely came out because I'm just like, tell me about the book. Tell me about the writing process because I was just so interested in the way that she literally put everything into this. It's a pretty short book. I think it's not even 500 pages. Yeah, it's like 450 pages. It's a very short book. And I feel like it just had so much, had everything that I was looking for. I have the Waterstone edition, like I was talking about earlier. Oh, y'all are so nice. Y'all are so sweet. Yay. I'm glad y'all had fun. I tried. When I tell y'all I was just sitting here with my little questions, I always kind of go off the script. But I definitely have a few questions. Oh my gosh, I just realized I never did my British accent. I feel so bad. Farida, it'll come out in the future, you know? Like, you'll hear it eventually. It's so weird doing a British accent for the British people. Like, how do you do that? If I feel like if I heard of somebody doing an American accent in front of me, I'd be like, you know? But maybe that's just like my insecurity. Thank you. I'm so glad you guys enjoyed it. Okay, let me just be 100 right now. I haven't even picked a book for the next 3 months. Y'all know I just moved. So I'm like, what should we read? What's the book? What are the Islamics right? Wow, I feel I'm so annoyed. Now that she's not on the call, every other word is in a British accent. I'm sick. I'm sick. Okay. I'm looking on my list of books that I wanted to read for the Iqra Trials. We didn't do. I know our book. We didn't do The Wild Ones by Nafisa Nazad. Is that her name? I have the book somewhere in my closet. But yeah, I think for August we'll read The Wild Ones. Let me pull it up to see like how to properly describe the book because it is a bit eclectic. I started reading like the first 3 chapters a few months ago, and then I remember that I wanted to do it for the Iqra Trials, and I was like, let me put it down. Excuse me, but it definitely reads like magical realism. Well, I mean, it is fantastical. It's not in like a real world, but it's very whimsical writing. We haven't done a fantasy book. We haven't done a Muslim fantasy book since Sky Beyond the Storm and We Free the Stars in the beginning of the year. So I'm like, let's bring it back. Let me pull up a description so I can let y'all know. For everybody that are still hanging on with me, if y'all want to ask me any questions, I'm here. I am recuperating from a this hot girl summer stuff that I apparently signed up for. But yeah, if you have any questions, anything you want to ask me, any advice, I should go live on YouTube more often. I do like being live. I just feel like I talk so much. I can't believe she put me on the spot and was like, let me hear your British accent. Girl, you want me to do what? Please. Hold on. There we go. Meet the wild ones, girls who have been hurt, abandoned, and betrayed all their lives. It all began with Paheli, who was once betrayed by her mother and sold to a man in exchange for a favor. When Paheli escapes, why did I say escapes? Please ignore me. She runs headlong into a boy with stars in his eyes. Ooh. This boy, as battered as she is, tosses Paheli a box of stars before disappearing. With the stars, Paheli gains access to the in-between, a place of pure magic and mystery. Now Paheli collects girls like herself, and these wild ones use their magic to travel the world, helping the hopeless and saving others from the fate they suffered. The boy that gave Homegirl the stars, now I'm paraphrasing, the boy that gave Homegirl the stars is in danger, and he's running from someone, and the wild ones have to help him. That's the story. It looks very cute, very diverse. I love the cover. It's like pink, purple. Oh, let me pull up the show actually on my phone so that I can get any questions early that y'all may have. That was so fun. Yeah, the book sounds really good. I definitely want to read it. I'm excited. Why does it say new comments and they're not there? Oh, I meant to ask this at the end of the show when she was still here, but what did y'all rate Ace of Spades? Was it 5 stars for everyone? I think I gave it 5 stars. I'm somebody that doesn't even like what's it called? I don't really like mystery thrillers because I have anxiety. And like I said, I was sitting there like having a heart attack when I was reading the book. So it wasn't my genre of choice. And even like YA, I've kind of been drifting away from. So it was a lot for me to even just pick up the book. But I love Faridah. I feel like she is amazing. And we were like mutuals on Twitter. So I picked up the book and everybody was talking about it. Once I saw that Monty from Monty Reads gave it 5 out of 5 stars, I was like, okay. Because y'all know Monty is picky. Monty don't say nothing is 5 star if it's not 5 stars. But literally by like 15-20% of the way in, I was like, oh yeah, I'm here for it. I am here, I'm present. I definitely feel like I wouldn't pick up other dark academia because one of the things I do like that Faridah does is the dark in a lot of dark academia is racism. Like that's why I couldn't even get into I'm screaming. I'm screaming. Faridah, I'm screaming. It's a lot less pressure now that you're not on the screen. Now I'm like I'm screaming. Thank you, love. I appreciate it, babes. You know, I'm gonna come and I'm just gonna catfish. That's a plan. I literally want to go to the UK. I want to go to London. I'm gonna go in the ends and really just catfish. Like I'm not from New York. I'm from here. This is where I'll be at. You know, like. Is it Southern? Okay. Wow, I need a history lesson. I don't know what the accent is. In my brain, I want to talk like Black British people, but what comes out my mouth doesn't necessarily always translate the same. I don't know what it is. Like, I grew up watching like Doctor Who and then watching like Misfits and then like Skims and like all these shows and then now Love Island and then watching Backchat. Like, I don't know what comes out my mouth. But I'm glad you approved. How hilarious! Well, I'm glad you got to hear it because I was like, damn, she done left, and now it literally just spews out. Yes, Doctor Who. I was such a nerd. I was so obsessed with the UK, and I always said that I wanted to. I always said I wanted to live in the UK because I love the rain. But I don't know how I feel about that anymore. I definitely want to visit. I want to visit the UK. What's the moves? What it's like? I love that. I feel so validated. Y'all can't tell me anything, okay? Having somebody from the UK really compliment my accent, it just hits different, you know? You can't tell me anything. I'm about to go on Love Island. Are y'all ready for the first hijabi on Love Island? Please, I'm delirious. I'm screaming. That's hilarious. God was like, I heard you. Let me pull her back on the show for you. But yeah, I feel like a lot of dark academias are dark, but they don't talk about racism. And so that's why I didn't even mess with what's that book called? What's this book? Ninth House. That's the name of the book. Ninth House was like, I don't know. I feel like white people dark academia means like Ninth House, which had some like really weird stuff. And I know that like that's what dark, I don't know. Maybe I'm just a little sensitive, but like, does dark have to mean like we killing animals? Like, didn't somebody get, I can't even get into Ninth House. I didn't even finish it. Like, I was so bored. And I was like, so it's boring, it's dry, and it's white and weird. I wasn't impressed. What's her name? It's giving that I forgot that I'm like a booktuber or whatever I am. I was talking about this on my Instagram that I wanted to get on. What is this thing called? Book Talk. Yo, y'all, I'm literally like, I'm out of it. I'm not okay. Um, I wanted to get on Book Talk because Ace is literally like trending on Book Talk, and I feel like it's been trending for a minute. I unfortunately watched a lot of like white people's reviews of Ace, and it was just not. It was good, like to hear them talking about it, but I feel like now with the whole age of everybody wanting to be allies and like woke, I feel like white people talk like there's a gun to their head, you know, like it feels very fake. They're just like, yeah, and like as allies, like we just have to, and I'm like, girl, did you like the book or no? Like this other stuff, it's not giving. It's not giving. I'm screaming. I love this for me. What time is it? It's 6. If y'all don't have any questions for your girl, I might hop off. Any questions or whatever's? Oh, I do this at the end of all my live shows. Let me let you know what content is coming out. I am working on my Halal Girl Summer lookbook, which is very exciting. I haven't done fashion content on my YouTube channel, like not even BuzzFeed, like my channel, in like 2 years. So I'm very excited to do that. I am working on my first like decorating, like moving vlog. It's like my first 2 weeks in my place. And what else? I want to film like a late mid-year freakout tag, but it's really just like what I've been reading because I haven't been uploading a lot of bookish stuff on my channel. Well, I think like my 4th video was a reading vlog. So not even that, but yeah, I want to update y'all on books that I have been reading. If you want to know what I be reading more often, in the little description box, my Goodreads is there. I update it pretty frequently. I'm also in the middle of 4 books. I am reading Secrets of Divine Love, which is a Islamic spirituality book. I'm reading Blood Like Magic. I started it. Something made me stop it, and I haven't continued. I think it's because Blood Like Magic, I was in a very like romance vibe, and I started reading it because I was like, okay, it's romance fantasy. Like it's about her having to kill somebody she falls in love with. So I was like, oh my gosh, yes. But it's very sciencey as well, which I wasn't expecting. It's like sci-fi fantasy mix. So I haven't really picked that up anymore. But I probably will finish it soon. I'm also reading All About Love by Bell Hooks. Bell Hooks is like Black author legend, and I am just annoying because I haven't finished. No, I read one of her books before. I read one of her books, but I haven't read All About Love, and I really want to read that. And the last book that I'm reading that I just started is, oh, here it is. It is the final revival of Opal and Nev. It's described as like a black and better version of Daisy Jones and the Six, and it's about this black punk artist in the 70s and like her coming of age story and her meeting this guy named Nev, and they have this like really iconic romance, but it's told in the perspective of Nev's daughter, who writes this as a response, I guess, to the fact that Nev, her dad, cheated on her mom with Opal. Very messy, y'all. But yeah, I just started this. Love the cover. Jesse from Bow Ties and Books recommended it to me, and I trust a lot of their recommendations. But yeah, I'm about to log off. Y'all already know, follow me everywhere. SincerelyTahiry. Watch my BuzzFeed videos. Watch my Arizona vlog. Put a lot of work into it, and Arizona was very fun and crazy and wild. Did I miss any messages? Let me make sure. But yeah, y'all have a good day or night. Why am I acting like I'm Chloe? It's just a really fun saying. I'll talk to y'all later. If you want to talk more, I actually am thinking about trying to go live on my Discord. That's also linked below. I'm new to Discord, so it's gonna take me a little bit to actually be active on there. But yeah, I'd love to do like maybe like movie nights, live streams, especially because I'll be sitting in my apartment by myself. But yeah, thanks for joining. Thanks for watching. Make sure you pick up The Wild Ones by Nafisa Azad. Let me see when it comes out. If it's not out already. Yeah, okay. It just came out. It came out August 3rd. So make sure you go pick that book up so you're ready for the live show. And that will be at the end of August / beginning of September. Y'all, I can't believe that summer is almost over. But thank you so much for watching. Thanks again, Faridah, for joining. Really appreciate you. And I love y'all for watching my stuff and writing it out with me. It's also getting dark. There's an overcast. But yeah. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you liked it. It was a really cute vlog. Weekly vlogs are a lot to edit, but they're always very fun. Yeah, I'll see y'all later. Bye.